American culture is now normalizing the idea that minors can be given hormones to prevent their biological development of their secondary sexual characteristics. Dr. Levine, you have supported both allowing minors to be given hormone blockers to prevent them from going through puberty, as well as surgical destruction of a minor's genitalia. Like surgical mutilation, hormonal interruption of puberty can permanently alter and prevent secondary sexual characteristics. The American College of Pediatricians reports that 80 to 95% of prepubertal children with gender dysphoria will experience resolution by late adolescence if not exposed to medical intervention and social affirmation. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I would look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of the standards of care for transgender medicine.
The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you evaded the question. Do you support the government intervening to override the parent's consent to give a child puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and/or amputation surgery of breasts and genitalia? You have said that you're willing to accelerate the protocols for street kids. I'm alarmed that poor kids with no parents who are homeless and distraught, you would just go through this and allow that to happen to a minor. I would hope that you would have compassion for Kira Bell, who's a 23-year-old girl who was confused with her identity. At 14, she read on the internet about something about transsexual. She thought, well, maybe that's what I am. She ended up getting these puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones. She had her breasts amputated. But here's what ultimately she says now. And this is a very insightful decision from someone who made a mistake but was led to believe this was a good thing by the medical community. I made a brash decision as a teenager, as a lot of teenagers do, trying to find confidence and happiness, except now the rest of my life will be negatively affected, she said, adding that the medicalized gender transitioning was a very temporary, superficial fix for a very complex identity issue. What I'm alarmed at is that you're not willing to say absolutely minors shouldn't be making decisions to amputate their breast or to amputate their genitalia. For most of our history, we believe that minors don't have full rights and the parents need to be involved. So I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field, and if confirmed to the position of Assistant Secretary of Health, I would certainly be pleased to come to your office and to talk with you and your staff about the standards of care and the complexity of this field.
Let it go into the record that the witness refused to answer the question. The question is a very specific one. Should minors be making these momentous decisions? For most of the history of medicine, we wouldn't let you have a cut sewn up in the ER, but you're willing to let a minor take things that prevent their puberty, and you think they get that back? You give a woman testosterone enough that she grows a beard, you think she's going to go back looking like a woman when you stop the testosterone? You have permanently changed them. Infertility is another problem. None of these drugs have been approved for this. They're all being used off-label. There's no long-term studies. We don't know what happens to them. We do know that there are dozens and dozens of people who've been through this who regret that this happened and a permanent change happened to them. And, you know, if you've ever been around children, 14-year-olds can't make this decision. In the gender clinic in England, 10% of the kids are between the ages of 3 and 10. We should be outraged that someone's talking to a 3-year-old about changing their sex.
Kari Lake actually interviewed me back in 2016 when I was president. She was a local news anchor. She was doing her job. At the time, I don't remember thinking that she was the kind of person who would push debunked remedies or promise to issue a declaration of invasion at our border or claim without any evidence that the 2020 election was stolen. I guess that stuff came later because she found it convenient, because she thought, well, here's an opportunity to get attention. Listen, if we hadn't just elected somebody whose main qualification was being on TV, you could see maybe giving it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? Well, now we know. It doesn't just work out just because somebody's been on TV.
I will never back away from the good people of Arizona. I will fight for you. So, I love you too. We just came from the border today. We were in Cochise County, and boy, they have it tough down there. The border is so complex here in Arizona. You can't just compare us to any other border. We've got the Yuma sector, we have the Tucson sector, we have what's happening on the Indian reservations. We have a situation where what they're called gotaways are coming across. We've got 5 million people or more, I believe, who've come across since Joe Biden took office. Can you believe in the first 10 minutes of his administration, his priority was to strip away an incredible border policy that President Trump had put in place? In the first 10 minutes. I mean, you'd think you'd want to settle into the White House. No, he said, we've got to make that border wide open and let everybody come across. And he did that in 10 minutes time. We've had more than 5 million people. We've had pour across at levels that would just blow your mind. We've finished the wall. That's right, we're going to. I was actually down there today, and there's about a block, maybe a half a mile of fencing and the materials that are for the wall. Guess who paid for those? We did. Guess who's going to take them back and use them? We are. And we're going to do that right away. Wendy and the legislature is going to help us redefine that as abandoned federal property. We're taking it back. We're going to finish President Trump's wall. Yes, we are. And we're down there. We got to have a united Republican force. Somebody said it's so rare to see, the AG, the Senate candidate, the governor candidate, the Secretary of State, all of you working together. Usually politicians are pretty selfish and greedy. Not the Republicans. We are working together as a team. And we're going to work for you. So we were down there today, and I know that as bad as the border is, it's in a really bad place right now. I have so much hope because I know we're going to win, and I know that the Republicans are willing to put the hours in, show up at work, and do the job. And we're going to do that and secure that border. And we're ready for the fight. But so every day's 521 days on the campaign trail. Not that I'm counting, but my staff told me it was that long. It actually feels like one very long day, to be honest. And, we've had so many great experiences. I actually stood up here very early on for Arrowhead women's Republican group. You remember that? You probably lined it up really early on when I first announced. And so I feel like we've been through a million battles since then. But yesterday was really one of those, kind of a pinch me day. Guess who came out and attacked me? Barack Obama. Exactly. He was talking about me, and it was so funny. I'm living rent-free in Barack Obama's mind, which is great. And I didn't actually listen to his speech until today. I was on Fox and they were playing some of it, and I'm like, wow, I'm really living rent-free. He went on and on. And they have nothing to attack us on. Okay, they attack Trump for his tweets. I'll take a mean tweet any day. How about you? Well, they can't attack me. My tweets aren't mean. They're funny, but they're not mean. They attacked him, orange man bad. I'm not orange, and neither is he, by the way. Unless the cameras try to mess with the color. So they can't attack me on that. They can't attack me for, not being able to articulate things. I've got a little experience in that. We have great policies, so they can't attack us on that. So you know what he attacked me on? The fact that I worked on TV. He attacked me for being articulate, and he attacked me for having good lighting in my home studio. That's all they've got. I was like, oh, this is so classic. Their attack on me is that I have good lighting. This is how desperate they are. So I laughed when Obama was attacking me. I laughed when Liz Cheney came in and attacked me. She spent $500,000 running attack ads on us, and we made $750,000 when she started attacking us. And then Katie Hobbs invites the worst of the worst. I would die of shame if this man came anywhere near me. Eric Holder. This was the guy that ran the gun running scheme that ended in the death of one of our brave Border Patrol agents, Brian Terry. She's actually arm in arm with this guy, and she's thinking that's a good thing. That's somebody who's out of touch, truly. I mean, this woman doesn't know what she's thinking, but one thing did scare me. Yesterday, I heard Hillary Clinton talking about me. You might be right on that. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. You know what? The fake news is going to run with it. I don't even care what they say. But so I'm fearless. I really am. I mean, once you walk through fear and you come out on the other side and are fearless, you really don't care about all these people. But I will tell you, there was a little tinge of fear when Hillary Clinton started talking about me. I said I went on Fox, I said, I just want everyone to know I'm in perfect health. We've recently had our car serviced and the brakes are in perfect working condition. And I am not. Let the record be shown. Hillary and Bill, just stay away from Arizona, okay? So I'm joking now. We're a few days away. I'm a little stir crazy from all the craziness that's been going on, but I think you all know where we stand, where we Republicans stand. We want common sense solutions, and we need them. We have a wide open border. I'm the first candidate in the governor's race to start talking about that. When I got into this, there were a few people who were in politics who said, just don't talk about the border. Don't talk about Trump. Don't talk about, don't mention the, and I'm like, that's everything we care about. Get away from me. We're going to talk about what people care about. We're going to secure the border. Starting on day one. We have to. We're going to stop the flow of. We are going to fully fund our police. Restore law and order. And you see these amazing, beautiful, precious babies over here? We're doing it for these guys. We are here, all of us in this room. I want you precious kids to know, each and every one of these adults you see here, all of us old people, we are here for you guys. Because we love you guys. How many mama bears, papa bears, grandma bears, and grandpa bears are in this room? Are you voting on Tuesday like your grandkids and your babies depend on it? What they're doing to our kids is what I think got a lot of moms and dads involved. They just told me the other day when we were looking at our numbers, they said, guess what? The suburban moms, the mama bears are moving Republican so fast. The Democrats' heads are spinning. And it's because the left did the stupidest thing in the world. I mean, you'd have to understand nature. You don't get between a mama bear and her baby cub.
If the president is not going to make time to visit the border during his trip tomorrow to a border state, will he do it in New Year?
Look, I addressed this last week about the president visiting the border. I'm not going to go beyond what I just laid out. I think, and we believe, the question again, as I was just answering to your colleague in the back, is that what are congressional Republicans going to do to actually deal with this issue? Instead of doing political stunts, many of the political stunts that hurt families, that hurt kids, that hurt children, right? That hurt people who are coming here to try to seek asylum, leaving leaving a dictatorship. Instead of going to the border and talking about things that not going to actually deliver and keep our border safe, why don't they work with us? Why don't they actually do something? Why don't they actually, help the president get the funding that he requested, historic funding, into the Department of Homeland Security? That's one way of doing that. But again, they're playing political games and doing political stunts.
The reason I ask is just because the president had said previously that he hadn't had a lot of time to get to the border. He's going to a border state tomorrow, so you think maybe there would be time there. And if there isn't tomorrow, can you say at this point that he...
What I'm saying is tomorrow he's going to actually focus on an issue, a bipartisan issue that was voted in Congress, the CHIPS and Science Act, something that is going to deliver for the people in Arizona, creating jobs and making people's lives better and making sure that we are bringing manufacturing back into the U.S. That is critically important. Now, what I'm saying, the second part of that to your question, if Republicans officials truly want to deal with immigration, they truly want to deal with the border, then they would stop doing political stunts and actually work with us on the plan that we have put forward, which they are not. And that's what we want to make very loud and clear. There's ways to deal with this. Again, they can come and actually do this in a bipartisan way, just like we did with the CHIPS and Science Act.
The trip is obviously to Phoenix, not to the border, not to Georgia, which is sort of a pressing issue for Democrats, for the president. Have Democrats determined that a visit to Georgia would not help Senator Warnock's reelection bid?
The president actually, and I actually already answered this, and I'll just repeat what I just said. The president, and I want to be very careful about talking about an election that's happening tomorrow because it's an election, and I'm covered on the Hatch Act, so I'm not going to comment on that specifically. But when we look back on the president's role during the midterm elections, he played a significant role for Democrats. It was because, again, I just answered this question, is because of the way he made the contrast with Republican officials, again, who talked about putting Social Security and Medicare on the chopping block because they were upset about the Inflation Reduction Act, which is a historic piece of legislation. It's going to lower costs for American families. That's what they were upset about, because we were saying we wanted to make sure big corporations pay their fair share and not put it on the little guy. And that's what they put forward. And the American people spoke really loud and clear. That's not what they want. They want us to continue to fight for their freedoms. They want us to continue to fight for democracy. And, that red wave never happened.